Students, how many of you are able to write the program to print this pattern? 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Students, I'm not getting any kind of response from your side. What happened? Akansha, Arav?
Yes, sir.
Am I not audible to you?
Sir, you are.
I am audible. Is this screen visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm asking that how many of you are able to write this program to print this pattern? 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. This kind of patterns. All of you? You must have done these programs in your class.
Yes, sir.
You have done this. So all of you are required to write the program to print the pattern number 1 and pattern number 2. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a second pattern that is 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, dear.
Sir, I have not done this program because, sir, I have joined the classes late. I am new admission.
Okay, you are a new admission. No issues, dear. We will be waiting for the other students to write this program. And those who are not able to write this program, I'll be telling you how to write this program. Or I can give you a simple hint. Have you studied nested loops?
Yes, sir.
You must have studied nested loops. Now just tell me how many rows and how many columns are there in this particular pattern. How many rows are there? There are 4 rows. How many columns are there? Do not say 4. Do not say 4. How many columns are there? I'm repeating this question again. How many columns are there?
Sir, 1 in 1, 2 in 2.
Exactly. There's 1 column in the first row. There are 2 columns in the second row, 3 columns in the third row, and 4 columns in the fourth row. So you have to apply a nested loop and you have to print this kind of pattern. Right? Try this program. I can ask any one of you to please share this screen and I'll see that how many of you have written this program. Do it fast. The total strength is 41 or 42. Aishwarya, what is the total strength? 41 or 42?
Yes, sir.
Sir, it was.
It was 40. It was 41. Write a program to print this pattern 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And once you do it, please tell me.
So done.
How many of you have done it? Only one student? Only Kanak has done? What about others? Do it fast.
So you will be our CS teacher throughout the year now.
Yes, Kanak.
So you will be our CS teacher throughout the year.
Sorry, dear, but I'm not sure with this. Actually, I think I told you before that I'm a teacher of global school, है ना? Sector 17 school. So they just asked me to take classes for the time being till the new teacher is not appointed. So till now, this is the information I am having. Rest you have to clear with your class teacher or the school coordinator. Right. All right. Those who are not able to do it, I'm telling you how to write this. How many rows do I have? I'm having 4 rows. So the loop that I'm going to use is 1, 5. This is my outer loop. Outer loop is actually used to print or to access the rows, right? And the inner loop will be used to columns. So how many columns do I want? It depends on the number of rows. The number of columns are dependent on the number of rows. So if the row number is 1 column will be printed. If the row number is 2 columns will be printed. I'm going to tell you the manual execution of this program. Let me complete this program first. So it is print. Now, the thing is, what do I have to print? I have to print 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to print the value of j.
This is what we have done in previous class.
Now see. All of you, I need the interaction. Students, I need your interaction now. What is the value of I right now in the first iteration?
1.
1. Now, the value of I is 1. It will go inside the block of I and it says that there's one more loop. It is having one more loop. So I have named it as the inner loop. Right. So the outer loop is having the value which is I. The iterator is I, which is having the value 1. In the I loop, we have a block in which again there's a loop that is known as nested loop basically. So we have a loop, nested loop as j is starting from 1 and will go till the value I plus 1. So whatever the value is written at the end will be going till minus 1. So I plus 1 minus 1 will be the till the value I, and the value of I is, what is the value of I? That is 1. So that means this inner loop is going to execute it only. How many times this inner loop will get executed in the first iteration? One time? Only one time, because the value of j will start from 1 and will end at 1. So only one time this inner loop j will get executed and it is going to print what? It is going to print 1. Because in the j loop we have a print statement which prints the value j. Now the j loop will get false. We cannot move further in the j loop because the last value was 1. We'll move out. So I have missed with one line. No, it is okay. Right. So now the j loop is over. Will go out. It will encounter there's an empty print statement out of the j loop. This empty print statement will make your pointer to the next line. Right. Now again, your outer loop will run. The value of I will get incremented and the value of I will be 2 now. Will come again in the, inside the inner loop. The value of j again will start from 1, will go till, this time it will go till 2. Why? The value of I is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 minus 1 again it is 2. So the j loop will start from 1, will go till 2. That means it is going to execute it 2 times. For the value 1 one time and then for the value 2 for the second time. And
So the number inside the the range inside the J loop, if it will be 1 3, so it will print 1 2, like one less than the last digit.
Yes, please, can you please repeat?
Sir, I'm asking if the range in J in the inner loop is 1 3, so it will print 1 2 because 3 would be the last digit. That's why last number.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because whatever we have written at the end value, whatever the end value is there at the loop, we go till -1, right? Minute our loop, one value before. Then again, the value of I will get incremented. It will be 3. The J loop will start from 1, 2, 3. Let me execute this program and will show you, are we getting the correct output or not? So as you can see, yes, we are getting the correct output. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So this is the second use of online editor tool. Okay. So
If anyone has any doubts, any kind of doubt related to this program, they can ask me right now.
So can you please explain it once more?
Not here. See, there are two loops, outer loop and the inner loop. Outer loop, I have used my outer loop for the rows and the inner loop for the columns. The I loop, the first loop, outer loop, will change the rows one by one. And depending on the value of the outer loop, my number of columns will get printed. Right? So suppose I say that suppose I say that the value I, again we are executing this program. So the value I right now it is 1, right? The value of I is 1. It will go till the value 4. Right? Now the value of j, it is what? The value of j is 1. Will go till how many times this j loop will get executed? Please try to tell me how many times this j loop will run. See what we have written in the
Sir,
function. Not 4. See what value we have written in the j loop. What is the range values? It is 1 comma I plus 1. The value of I is 1.
Yes, sir.
The value of I is 1. Now it will go till 1 plus 1, that is 2. 2. But we have a rule that in the forward loop, if you want to calculate the value of n, that till where the value will get go, so it is n equals to n minus 1. So if the value is 2, so it will go till 1 only.
Okay, sir.
Right? So start from 1 and will end at 1 only. Because this time the value of I is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2 and 2 is the end value that we have written, but it will go till 2 minus 1, that is 1. Starting from 1 and again terminating at 1. It means it is executing only one time. By
Yes, sir.
starting at 1 and terminating at 1. It means it is executing only one time. And but we are printing in that. Why we are printing the value of j? Because let us do one thing. Instead of doing this program first, how many of you have problems in this pattern programming? Just raise your hands. How many of you are facing the problems in this pattern programming? Just raise your hands. I'm going to teach you from the very starting this particular topic, pattern programming. Yes, students, just raise your hands. How many of you are facing the problems in this? Achha, we have 50 students here in the class right now. So do we have a blend of CS and IP students right now in the class? Or we have only CS students? Computer science students are there on the...
There are IP.
Achha, there are IP students as well, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So now tell me, how many of you are facing the issues in writing the programs of this pattern programming? Just raise your hands. Just raise your hands, no issues. Okay, 5. Students, just raise your hands. Those who are facing the problems in doing this pattern programming, I'm going to teach you from scratch. Don't worry. Because see, let me tell you one thing, this pattern programming or this chapter looping is the most important chapter of any of the programming languages. It is actually the backbone of the programming language. If you are If you're clear with the concept of this looping, trust me, you are going to be a master of the programming. So only 16 students are here, those who are facing the problems.
Again,
19. Chalo. Okay. So 19, 20 students we are having in the class. Those are facing the problems in this. Now see, leave this program. Right, we are leaving this program right now. I'm going to print I'm going to print this program, right? I'm going to print this pattern. So to print this pattern, I have to write the program. Got it? Let me do one thing. Okay. So who is going to tell me? Those who have raised those who have raised the hands, they are requested to please respond. How many rows and how many columns are there?
4 rows,
Sir,
4
four
columns.
rows and four columns.
4 rows, 4 columns.
Okay, 4 rows and 4 columns. Now, if you are asked to print this 4 stars, only a single row, what you are going to write? If you have been asked to print this pattern, then what you are going to do? You are going to apply a loop. How many columns are there? There are, so we'll be writing 1 comma 5 and we'll be printing R. But is this program correct? To print the above pattern, I have written this program. Is this correct or not?
So remove end.
No, I cannot remove end. It is compulsion. If I remove this end, so your stars will be printed like this. If I remove end, your stars will get printed like this. But your pattern is like this. It has to be printed in it has to be printed horizontally, not vertically. Now, what if I'm going to print the patterns like this? Now let us see for this. Now this is actually a 2D pattern in which we are having some rows and we are having some columns. Yes or no? Wait, we are having some rows and we are having some columns in this. So for this kind of pattern, we actually need a nested loop. For this kind of pattern, what we need nested loop. One loop for the rows, one loop for the columns. I loop will come in first row and this J loop will print whatever it wants to print on that particular row. Then once this J loop gets terminated, it will increment the value of I. That means I will go in the next row, and on the then in the next row the J loop will get started to print the pattern whatever it has to be printed. So how many rows and how many columns do we have? Why we have 4 rows and 4 columns. Am I correct? But there are 4 rows and 4 columns. Am I correct? Right. Now, this I loop is, again I'm telling you, this I loop that I have written, the outer loop, it is for your rows. It is for your rows. So the I loop, the value of this I right now is 1, and this I1 means that you are in the first row. Right? If you are in the first row, see, I is just changing your rows, nothing else. What I is doing, I is just changing your rows. So I is your right now first. So that means it is pointing to the first row. Now it is the work of J. It is the work of your nested loop which is going to print the values in that particular row. By I is just changing the rows, and for each row we have taken a loop which is a nested loop inside this outer loop known as inner loop as well. So it is responsible for printing the values in that particular row. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But do I have to print? I have to print star. So first line it says the I loop. Again I'm telling you this I loop is for the rows. This the value of I is right now 1. It will come inside the J loop because loop has a block, and this for I in range 1 comma 5 has a block inside it which is again a loop. That loop is for J in range 1 comma 5. The value of J is 1. It will run 4 times, will print the 4 stars in a first row, right? Once this
Sir,
J loop, yes,
what if we move end program in this program then?
if you remove end,
Yes, sir.
it's going to
And
print, it is going to print like this. Actually, it printed like this. End is required because I have to write the rows. है ना? In each row, I have to print number of stars. So that is why I have written this end. So the value of J is 1. Starting from 1, it will go till 4. It has printed 4 stars in a first row. Will get terminated and will come at this empty print statement. This empty print statement will take my pointer to the next empty line, to the next line. It will take to the second row. Now it is at the second row. The value of I is getting incremented. The value of I is 2 now, right? We'll again come to the loop J. This J loop is again going to print the values, the stars 4 times, because again the J loop is running from 1 to 4. It is going to start again from 1. Every time this J loop is executing, that is, the J loop gets terminated in the first row. After the first row printed, the J loop was terminated. The value of I was incremented to 2. Now again it is coming in the J loop. Now again J loop will start from 1. Right, 1 to 4. So print star, it is printing stars 4 times and so on. It will do this work continuously. Am I clear with this program? Students, am I clear? Yes or no?
Yes, I can see so many screenshots in our class.
Can you see this pattern?
Yes,
See,
sir.
if anyone has doubts now also, again I'm telling you, you can ask. See, we are going to move further once you are clear with your 100% concept. If it is 99.9% clear, you can ask me again. But if it is 100% clear, then only we are going to move further. Yes, just raise your hands, those who are still having problem in this. Just raise your hands.
Sir, if it wasn't for an inner loop, first the I loop would have printed and then J loop separately, right?
See, your nested loop runs like this. That first of all, the value of I is allowed. The value of I is initialized. Now the value of I is 1 in the first iteration of the outer loop, right? Now it will come inside. See, this I loop has a block, and that block is containing another loop, right? This I block is your I loop is having what? It is having a block of code, and that block of code is again it's another loop. So this loop, by you must be knowing the definition of loop. Loop is nothing but the iteration, repetition of task. So this J loop,
Yes, sir, got it.
this J loop will execute 4 times. because we have written 1 comma 5, so it is going to execute 4 times. So it will execute 4 times, and once it is executed 4 times, then it will go out of this loop, and it will see that okay, we have an outer loop out, so we have to increment the value of that as well. It works like this.
Okay, sir.
If anyone has any doubts, now also you can ask me.
Sir, can you tell pyramid of alphabets?
Pyramid of
Sir?
alphabets, we'll be doing it. We'll be doing it. Yes, Bhavya.
Sir, I have sent a screenshot of my program. Can you just check it? Because mine hashtag is printing in a straight line with the end loop also.
Because you have written the print statement, the empty print statement inside the J loop. It should be out of the J loop. Right. Once you have printed a particular row, you are going. Then you are going to go in the second row, na? So this empty print statement should be out of the for loop, out of this nested loop.
Okay, sir.
See, see my indentation. Your indentation is wrong. See my indentation. It is just below the outer loop. Sorry, inner loop. है ना?
Okay,
Now,
sir.
moving to the next one. Acha, if still anyone has any doubts, please ask me. Again, I'm asking you. If anyone has any doubts, now also you can ask me. To all the 19 students, those who have raised hands, is this program clear to everyone? Is the concept of this nested looping clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Now see. Now if I want to print this kind of pattern, what am I going to do? If I need to print this pattern, star, double star, triple star, 4 star. Now, see in the above example that we have seen that in every row there are 4 columns. Hai na? In every row there are 4 columns. So there are 4 rows and 4 columns. So it's a square basically. Now in this pattern, the first row is having only 1 column, second row is having only 2 columns, third row is having only 3 columns, and fourth row is having the 4 columns. So as we can see that it depends on the number of row, how many columns do we have? Yes or no? It depends on the number of row, that how many columns have to be printed, and who is controlling the row number, I or J? Who is controlling the row number, I or J? I is controlling the row number. So what I'm going to do, if it is dependent on the value of I, that how many columns have to be printed, then we are going to print how many times we are going to print that particular row. We are going to print that particular row depending on the
I times.
value of
I
I.
plus 1.
Sorry, I plus. Right. I plus 1. So 1 comma I plus 1. That means if the value of I is 1, only one column will get printed in a particular row. If the value of I is 2 columns. If the value of I is 3 columns. If the value of I is 4 columns. If I run this program, as you can see, this is my output. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
See, I'm getting a response of only 1 or 2 students in the class, and there are 50 students in the class. So what about all others 48 students? See, there are 50 students in the class, and I'm getting response from only 2 students. Students, if I'm not clear, you can ask me. If this concept is not clear to you, I'm telling you again and again, you can ask.
Sir, it is clear.
It's clear.
Again, I'm getting the response of only 2 or 3 students?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
All my IP students,
So it's clear.
is it clear?
Sir, it's clear.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, if I ask you to print a pattern, that is, again, they're jumping to the program, this one. Jumping to this program. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, let's see this. Let's see this program. But in the above example, it depends on the value of I, how many times we have to print a particular column, right? So we were printing star. It is again the same thing, that it depends on the value of I, how many columns have to be printed in a particular row. One column has one row, first row has one column, second row has 2 columns, third row has 3 columns, and fourth row has 4 columns. But the values, earlier we were printing star, but this time it is 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So can you think for a value which is starting from 1 for each row and incrementing 1 by 1? That is the value J.
Sir, J.
That is the value J, because J is starting again and again from 1. After each row, J is again starting from 1. And J is incrementing till the value I. But for the first row, the value of I is 1. So J is starting from 1, ending at 1. Second row, the value of I is 2, starting from 1, ending at 2. J. In the third row, J is starting from 1, ending at 3. Fourth row, starting from 1, ending at 4. So yes, it depends on the value of J, which is going to print this. So as you can see, the value of J, if you're printing value of J, it is going to print this pattern. Am I clear now? Again, you are just sitting quiet.
Yes, sir.
See,
Yes, sir.
let me tell you one thing.
Yes, sir.
If you are sitting here for the sake of attendance, no need to attend my classes. But if you are here to learn something, you are seriously most welcome. Right? Be here to learn something. Don't be here for the attendance. And if you are here to learn something, you are required to respond in the class. Do not sit quiet. Okay. Talking about the next program. What about this? All of you, please try this program. At least think for a logic that what should we do to print this pattern.
Sir, we'll use the same coding but print I this time.
Instead of J, we will use I and print.
Because 2 students are saying that instead of J, we should print I. To all the students who are sitting quiet in the class, what do you say? Will it work or not?
Yes, sir, it will work.
Yes, sir, it will work.
Yes.
Because we have seen what we are actually printing. We are actually printing the row number. We are printing the row number. By first, it is the first row. Second row. Third row, and fourth is fourth row. How many times we are going to print? But it depends on the value of I only. How many times we are going to print a row? It depends on the value of I. Now, what value should get printed? But the value is I only, because the value of I in the first row is 1, the value of I in the second row is 2, the value of I in the third row is 3, and the value of I in the fourth row is 4. So we are printing
offline. Offline with
Sahil?
नहीं.
Sir, please explain the logic of this question.
Explaining the logic of this program. See, what we are printing? We are printing 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4. Right? Uh, what do you see in this program? We are seeing that it is actually a row number that we are printing.
Yes, sir.
It is a row number. And who is having the row numbers? I or J?
I.
I is having the row. So I'm printing I. But the concept is, sir, how many times, how is it going to know that we are going to print one only in the first row, two times this the second row, three times the third row? How it is getting to know? So the concept is same that this loop is same because this loop is actually taking me to the positions. At which position do I have to print? Right? What I have to print, it depends on the print statement which is inside the J loop. Because J is printing the columns in the respective rows. So it is printing the value I. I is the row number. The first row, the row number is I. The row number is 1. The value of I is 1. And J will be running only one time because I have mentioned that J will be running on depends on the value of I only. Right? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, if I move to the second program, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What about this?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You must have, I think you will be going to the school today, na? Students, will you be going to the school today?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
So your schools are not started yet.
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Write a program to print this pattern. Try it on your own. Try to execute this program. Try to write this program. Let me give you a hint. This time, neither the value of I will get printed nor the value of J. You have to take a third value to print this. This is a hint, right? And after each iteration, the third value will get incremented. This is a second hint. The first hint is you don't have to print the value of I or the value of J. Second hint is you'll be taking a third variable and the third variable will be incrementing after the each iteration. Right? This is your hint. Try to execute this program. I'm giving you some time. I'm giving you 5 minutes. Try to do this program. All of you are required. I can take anyone's name. I can call anyone of you to show me the program. Right? Write this program. Think for the logic.
Sir, done.
So Shashwat is done.
Yes, sir.
Great. Sir.
Sir, what was the hint? Sir, can you tell me the hint again?
Yes, Kanak.
Sir, can you tell me the hint again?
What shall I tell you?
The
Please,
hint you gave.
can you please be louder, dear?
Sir, the hint you gave, can you tell me again?
Actually, your voice is not clear.
Sir, am I audible?
You are audible, but your voice is not clear to me.
Sir, I'm asking, can you repeat the hint that you told me previously?
Do one thing. Write down in the chat. Write down in the meeting chat. Okay, what was the hint? The hint is that you have to use the third variable. You don't have to print the value of I nor the value of j. You have to take a third variable, and after the each iteration, you have to increment. After the each iteration, you have to increment that value. Right? Right, Kanak? So how many of you have done this program? Only Shashwat has done? What about other students? Akshita, Aishwarya, Devansh, Gautam. But you all were responding in my first class. What happened to you all up to now? Vani,
Yes, sir.
have you done this program?
Sir, I'm still trying.
You're still trying, okay. Siddhant, I remember these names that all of you were responding. Okay, Bhavya is also done. Great. Chalo, I'm writing this program. See what I've told you. Take a third variable. Suppose the third variable is 1. N. Print the value n, and after the each iteration, incremented value. It's easy.
Yes.
I have taken the value. I've initialized the value n to be 1. This is my third variable. I'm printing the value n, and after the each iteration, I'm incrementing this value. See the output. Do one thing. Do the manual execution of this program on your own.
Sir, done.
Done?
Yes, sir.
Do the manual execution, and any one of you, if it is not clear to you, you can ask me. Students, you can ask me if it is not clear to you.
Sir, it is clear.
It is clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Vani, clear?
Yes, sir.
Siddhant? Akshita?
Yes, sir.
Now, who was asking me to print the pattern of this? Someone was asking me to print this. Vani was asking. See, we have ordinal values of each and every character that are present on your keyboard, right? The ordinal value of capital A is 65. Ordinal value of capital A is what? It is 65. Got it? B is 66, C is 67, D is 68, and so on. This is about capital A. This is for capital A. Small a is having the value 97, small b 98, small c 99, and so on. We have R, which converts whatever value I'm writing in the parenthesis of CHR, it converts that value into the character. So if I've written CHR of 65, it will convert that value into the character. Now 65 will be A. The character will be capital A. So the concepts of looping are same as we have done in the previous cases. The only difference is that while printing, before printing, we have to convert that value in. I'm going to take a val variable initialized to 65. Before printing something, I need to convert that val into the character and will be printing the ch. Before moving to the next, and once I move to the next row, the value will get incremented. But as you can see the output that we have printed A, B, B, C, 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 D, 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 D. We have taken a value that is 65, right? We have converted that value into 65 into the character. We have capital A now. We have printed the capital A. The loop is finished. The J loop is finished. We'll move to the second row. I will print 2 times. What should I print? Before moving to the second row, this value is incremented. Right? Before moving to the second row, this value has got incremented. Now this value is what? This value is now 66. Exactly. Now 66. This will now again this loop will run 2 times. Will convert this value into character. Will print 2 times capital B, and so on. This program will work like this.
So we must learn the values of each alphabet in order to do such a program.
You don't have to learn the value for each alphabet. You just have to keep in mind that the value of capital A is 65 and the value of small a is 97. Nothing else. Right? Just keep in mind about these values. Capital A is 65, capital B is 66, capital C is 67, and so on. So no need to learn all the values, just have to learn the value of capital A, that is 65, and the value of small a, that is 97.
Okay, sir.
So all of you want to write the program, you can write down this program in a notebook. Have you all written this program in the notebook?
No, sir, writing.
Just write it down. Done?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everyone has written this program in the notebooks?
Yes, sir.
Great. So, at what time do we have the class tomorrow? Okay, we'll be having the class. Any other class at 9 a.m. tomorrow? Students, will you be having any other class at 9 a.m.? Students, chemistry.
No classes.
Sure. We'll be having the class tomorrow at 8 a.m. So we'll see you, all of you there at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Till then, goodbye, take care. This is for today. Right? We're going to continue with in the next class.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.